indefensible
No
but
offense to you
emotionally
people.
salient symbol of quotation entirely, but there's something interesting there. And Sullivan continues writing, the crown represents something from the ancient past, a logically indefensible but emotionally salient symbol of something called a nation, something that gives its members meaning and happiness. However shitty the economy, or awful the prime minister, or ugly the discourse, the monarch is able to represent the nation all the time, in a living, breathing, mortal person. So anyway, this, as I said, gave me something to think about as though for the first time. It strikes me now that a monarch, when she or he is actually functioning as intended, is the opposite of a scapegoat. In the Bible, in Leviticus,
that is literally the opposite of what Andrew was just saying. They are literally the ultimate scapegoat. That is what Andrew was saying. No matter how shitty the economy is, or no matter how much this is bad about the country, no matter how this is bad about the country, the people still love the monarchy.
Yeah, the people still have the symbol of hope.
Okay, that is the ultimate scapegoat.
Yeah, it's just upward scapegoating, but it's still definitely that's what it is.
Yeah,
and that's why people love that shit.
So I don't know how
it's a release.
Sam drew the opposite.
What the fuck did Sam say?
It strikes, as I said, gave me something to think about as though for the first time. It strikes me now that a monarch, when she or he is actually functioning as intended, is the opposite of a scapegoat.
Maybe he's about to try to like jujitsu us into being like, aha, I was saying he's the opposite of a scapegoat, but really I'm about to explain how he's just like a scapegoat. And somehow I think that actually he's the opposite of a scapegoat. Haha, I'm Sam Harris.
I don't know, but we'll see.
In the Bible, in Leviticus, the scapegoat is literally a goat that's imagined to contain all the sins of a community, and then is cast out into some wasteland to die, taking the sins of everyone with it. And of course, the phenomenon of scapegoating is something that happens.
Yep, still not seeing how he could possibly be right.
Let's keep listening for a second.
With people too. And of course, the phenomenon of scapegoating is something that happens with people too.
Oh, you don't say.
Albeit unwittingly. And one can often see this. You can see a community on the verge of violence.
Not very unwittingly. Plenty of it is plenty intentional, my dude. I don't know.
Okay, if he means that, the only way this makes sense is if he's going to say that since it's upward scapegoating, since you're taking since you're choosing not to apply all of the negative things and escaping that way with the goat, okay, just ignoring all the problems and escaping with the goat, that instead of throwing all the problems on the goat and throwing the goat away, which is the traditional scapegoat, I guess.
Although it really is a broader term than that, I feel it should be a flexible enough term to mean both of those things at the same time. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that.
I don't know who decides these fucking kind of things.
Literally me and Sam Harrison, whoever the fuck else gives a shit.
Pretty sure if you can draw any logic. The point, the scape and scapegoat is escaping the consequences of the badness, right? That's what it means, right?
Yeah.
Or acknowledging the problems.
Right. So if you drill down on what you're saying when you say scapegoat, it shouldn't even have to be a problem. It should just be anything you're attaching to someone else so that it goes away, whether it be good or bad.
Or, okay, so if he's meaning that the only way this makes sense is if he's going to say that since it's upward scapegoating, since you're taking the negative things and escaping with the good, that instead of throwing all the problems on the goat and throwing the goat away, which is the traditional scapegoat, I guess. No, just any form of detaching from the thing so that it goes away.
Yes.
Any form. It doesn't
No.
matter if you attach it to a person, a thing.
Okay, well, I consider all things people, but I agree with you fundamentally with what you're saying.
Okay, so in my opinion, it's a scapegoat is when you use some kind of object
Yeah.
to
transfer.
To detach yourself from any given problem that you are currently having or feelings that you do not want to feel.
Right.
Whatever those may be.
Right.
So
even if they're good feelings.
Yes. Right.
Right.
So obviously, in the context of the fact that people will just turn to the monarchy in situations where they should be analyzing the issues of their country, obviously that makes the monarchy a scapegoat, in my opinion. But
yes, right, it's a clear political scapegoat, and Sam just has his head up his ass philosophically, like usual. Get ready for more
violence and one can often see this. You can see a community on the verge, of course, the phenomenon land to die, taking the sins of everyone with it. And of course, the phenomenon of scapegoating is something that happens with people too, albeit unwittingly. And one can often see this.
What does unwittingly mean?
Unintentionally.
Oh, well. It happens both wittingly and unwittingly.
That's what I said. It's plenty of it. I said, quote, plenty of it is plenty wittingly, my dude.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. We only ever unintentionally use a person as a scapegoat. What the fuck?
As someone who has been very intentionally scapegoated by a very large number of different people over the course of my life, I'm here to fucking tell you, it's very much intentional a lot of the time.
Okay, you remember the whole stupid versus lying debate, right? That just always comes up when someone says something so wrong.
Sam Harris.
He's obviously on the side of stupid, always, pretty much.
No, it's actually worse than that. He's being dishonest so hard internally that he's creating stupidity. But with the chicken and egg, it goes down to dishonesty because he's actually a super genius, objectively speaking.
So
he's dishonesting so hard that he in his own brain he's stupid, but it's because he's lying to himself first and foremost.
Yeah, I didn't follow.
He's telling himself lies about the nature of reality, and those lies cause him to believe things that are stupid, and then he says those stupid things.
Is he consciously or unconsciously telling himself lies?
Unconsciously. He's absolutely.
So he believes the lies he's telling himself are truth.
Correct.
Okay, that's really crucial information.
I agree.
In the shit you're trying to say.
Yeah, oh yeah, I agree. Thank you for reminding me to say it. If he didn't believe, dude, we wouldn't even be listening to him if he didn't believe it was true. Because you don't have that kind of patience. You don't want to listen to fucking people that might actually not even believe what the fuck they're saying. Right?
Yes, Christopher. I'm not confused about that at all. I just hate it when people say a person is lying to themselves when they're telling themselves stuff that they believe is true.
Okay, that's a valid criticism of how I said what I said. I should have said.
It's really confusing
I
to even think about it.
I should have said subconsciously lying to himself, not lying to himself. Lying to himself.
That doesn't make it much clearer at all.
Unintentionally lying to himself. Is that more clear?
Yeah, but now there's a bunch of garble in the way.
Yeah, that's the problem with words. They're not really that efficient, actually. That's why he's having so much trouble, too.
It's pointless to say someone is unintentionally lying to themselves. What's much more accurate is to say that they believe incorrect things.
Okay, so I guess you just win the debate and he's stupid, not lying? Or what?
Yes. If he doesn't even believe he's lying to himself, then no, he's not lying to others.
But I know he's objectively a super genius, though, because some of the time.
Just because you're smart doesn't mean you're wise.
But sometimes he's objectively wise, too.
Wisdom is like that. You could be a grandmaster at like 97% of places in wisdom, and then those last 3% of places will have you homeless. That's
and hated by 100% of people.
Yes.
Legit. Or 99 or something.
Happens actually pretty frequently.
It's common. It's very common. Yeah.
So that's just how wisdom is.
Right. That's why wisdom is not enough. You need Renaissance wisdom. Wisdom in every area. Philosophical wisdom.
It's much better to have a little bit of wisdom in all areas than a lot of wisdom in only a few, and none in others.
That is very true. That's very true. Because you're going to live a short, painful life.
If you have enough wisdom in enough areas, then you can learn how to grow your wisdom in all areas. But
Exactly.
if you don't have enough wisdom in enough areas, you will never grow your wisdom.
You will suffer critical losses from those shortcomings, and then it will basically end you.
There's actually like a time frame on when you can learn them too.
Yeah, it's just like in Civ. If you don't work on everything from all the important things from the beginning and throughout the whole game, you're kind of screwed. But biology is more forgiving than Civ, you know. Our lives are a lot longer than a Civ game.
Yes. You have till you're like, if you don't learn till you're like, you have till you're like 60. And if you don't learn by then.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically till you for sure legit start to die.
Yes.
That's
Then you're past the point.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because
right.
that you can't teach an old dog new tricks shit really kick in at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you hit 70 is really when you're like about to start tapping out of just wanting to do shit in general. So if you can't like turn your shit around by 60, you're fucked.
No, it's obviously not an absolute. There have been plenty of people who have
I'm sure
been shitty people until they were 60 years old and then become great people at 60, but
or 70 or 80 or
whatever. It's totally happens.
It's possible, but oh my god, it's statistical.
And by that point, everyone hated you for so long
and the marginal benefit that you're going to attain from changing your ways
at that point
for 2 seconds just for people to call you a fucking hypocrite and laugh at you.
Yeah. You'll have to spend, after you change, you have to spend the next 5 to 10 years fixing the reputation you made for the last at least 40 of your adulthood,
Yeah, and depending on what you did, you'll literally never fully recover. And
Yeah.
That's
Basically, no matter what you did, you will never fully recover. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's-
So, I mean, that's part of the problem with that.
Well,
you
that's
know?
that's everybody's problem in general.
Yes, I know, but it's an extra big problem when you're 60 and you're trying to become a good person because
Yep. All right. It's sad but true.
looking at you, Danny Clay. And anyway,
man, it's so sad because in a way that really applies to my grandfather too, because he's a classic example of someone who he had too much imbalance in his wisdom valves. He has like a shit ton in a lot of them, but really doesn't have enough in a few of them. And
same with my dad.
Classic manitis.
Only he has just overall less wisdom than your grandpa, I would say, in general.
Probably, but my grandpa's shortcomings are vicious as fuck nonetheless.
Yeah. Whose isn't?
Right. They both have a pretty good attitude about it, though. So, yeah.
That's one of the bad things about them, honestly.
No, that's what makes them great.
No, it's also what keeps them from growing so much. Part of it.
Okay, but it's also what keeps them from becoming real, true monsters in any given moment.
No, I think that's something else.
All right, well, I think it's connected, and I'm one of those people, so I might be a little bit more intimately connected with it than you, but I could be wrong.
Whatever. Anyway.
Unpause this.
You can see a community on the verge of violence or taking the sins of everyone with it. And of course, the phenomenon of scapegoating is something that happens with people too, albeit unwittingly. One can often see this. You can see a community on the verge of violence or just intolerable conflict can focus its destructive energy on a single person and use the obliteration of this person, whether in reality or just reputationally, as a way of resetting itself. Everything can go back to normal now that the witch has been burned. The philosopher René Girard wrote about this some, and one can see a lot of this online now. The way a community increases in solidarity by sacrificing individuals.
You're really going to call that crap unwitting?
I was trying not to pause just to say that.
Bro, that was like an actual quote of those times. Burn the witch and everything will be all good after that.
And he literally describes that 2 seconds after he said that shit. That literal same shit is unwittingly.
Whatever.
We oops, accidentally burned that witch at the stake on purpose. By accident.
With the intention of, cleansing our whole community.
We unwittingly burned her at the stake to cleanse her community.